Close to our church, there's a grocery store, a Ralph's, very close to a pharmacy, a Rite Aid. And if you understand the difference between a grocery store and a pharmacy, I think you understand a little bit about the impact of a family life versus a youth group in the spiritual life of your kids. In Deuteronomy chapter 6, it says this: "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These commandments that I give to you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up." I started volunteering with teenagers, Asian American teenagers, in 1996. In 1998, I became a part-time intern, and then in 2002, I became a full-time youth pastor. And I've worked with literally hundreds of Asian American, mostly American-born Chinese teenagers over the years. And I've worked in big and small youth groups that have had lots of programs and opportunities, and I've seen youth groups that barely had any kids or any support in them in any programs. But I'll tell you one thing, that the most influential part of youth's lives, when I look at kids that have grown up in their 20s or even 30s now, they look a lot like their families. They look a lot, actually, like their parents or guardians. See, a youth group is kind of like a pharmacy. We have a lot of vitamins and supplements and things to help you raise your kids. Maybe you're missing certain kind of topics or issues that we can help address for your teenager. We also do a lot of first aid. You know, when there's problems, when there's crises that come up, the youth group and the church is here to support you. And even as kids get into youth group and make friends in youth group and consistently come, they start to make friends there that influence them in positive ways. And so we have the cosmetics and the hygienes to make kids act and look good through positive peer pressure. But the real work and growth of a kid spiritually doesn't actually happen in youth group. A lot of it actually has already happened, but continues to happen in your home. As you teach your kids and live with them each day, as you feed them not just physically, but spiritually and emotionally, and through the principles and values that you or your family has, that is what comes across to kids. That is how they are shaped. The decisions you make each day, how you handle stress, how you interact with the poor, how you deal with your priorities or decisions about finances, these things are all, everything is translated into your kids as they're developing and as they're growing up. And so the one thing that I always encourage parents to do, the one thing that I would say, if I could say anything to you, is to spend more time with your kids. So I think especially now, some of us feel like, well, we spend all our time with our kids. It's just, when the kids are home, I'm home, and it just seems like it's kind of crazy to say that. But maybe it means spending more intentional time with your kids, where you're actually spending time together in the same room, or doing shared activities, or even in conversation together. But of all the parents I've talked to, of all the kids I've grown up, none of them have ever said, we just spent too much time together. But so many of them have said, I wish I had a better relationship. I wish we communicated more. I wish we trusted each other more. I wish we knew each other better. And as you do that, as you spend more time with your kids and invest in your relationship with them, I hope that the youth ministry can support you. Even in this time, we have a lot of things going on that I think are helpful, and I think that um, even when we get back, yeah, I'm excited that there will be even more that we can do to support you. But the purpose of our youth ministry is to help you raise your kids. The purpose of the youth ministry is to support you in raising your kids that understand the gospel, that respond to the gospel, and then because of that, develop a vision for their life that will transform them and also lead them to a life that will renew the world. So one thing that I need you to do is fill out using the link below the registration form for our youth ministry. This will allow us to know your youth and you, who you are, your contact information. We send out kind of weekly emails about what's going on in the youth ministry. Right now we're sending out a few more than usual, but this gives you all the information about the events going on, special programs, or just encouragement information that we think would be helpful as you go through these years in developing and growing your teenager. There are also two weekly programs that we have, our Friday night fellowship and our Sunday worship service. Right now, both of them are modified. The Friday fellowship is on Zoom and our Sunday worship is on YouTube. But these are still going on weekly, and these are an important part of our youth ministry, the foundational pieces of the youth ministry. And then finally, we have a whole bunch of things that we've been doing, things like having our volunteers and recent youth grads share devotional thoughts on YouTube. We send out regular email encouragements with biblical principles in them that kind of like a social media alternative. These resources for Sunday school, kind of intensive learning times, or even emails about how to stay sane or healthy in a pandemic with all the technology use. And all this is kind of sent out by email. So again, register with the link below. Make sure you have your information, can add you to the list, and then you can be well informed with what's going on in the youth ministry. And so I'll put my email down below as well. You can contact me if you have any questions, but I also plan on having a parent intro to youth group Zoom meeting, probably a Sunday afternoon later on this summer. But until then, I hope that you can get you and your kids subscribed to the email, get all the information about what's going on in the youth ministry. Hope you're staying healthy in this time and enjoying the blessing of being able to spend more time together as a family. See you soon.